So it's that time again. I have another really nice gaming PC build planned in the next couple of weeks, and because I have a brand new gaming PC planned, I have a brand new motherboard that I would love to show you. The Gigabyte B850 Eagle board. Now, obviously this may not be your first choice, seeing as how this is one of the cheaper options out there, but just because it's not your first choice, it is a choice, and we're going to take a deep dive into this board today so that you guys know exactly what you're getting into if this is the board that you wish to purchase for your build. Now, as of recording this video, this board right here comes in at $179 US, which makes this one of the cheapest B850 full ATX boards that you can purchase. The only board currently that beats this board in price is ASRock's B850A board, and this board actually shares the exact same price as ASRock's B850 Pro board. But people are hesitant to purchase ASRock stuff because it was destroying some 9800 X3D chips, and nobody wants that. Now listen, with the state of the world being the way that it is right now, nobody's gonna fault you for trying to save a little bit of money wherever you can if you're trying to build a brand new system. Now, in my personal opinion, maybe now's not the right time to build a brand new system, but if you are hell-bent on getting a new system and you want to try and save a little bit of money wherever you can, plus you want to maintain your performance and quality, then this is a pretty good option. Or you wanted a 9070 XT and the only way to get it was through a bundle, and this was the motherboard that came in the bundle, which is exactly how I came into contact with this thing. Now, just so that you don't have to, I did a whole bunch of research on this board right here to help you guys decide if this may be the right board for your next PC build. But before we can do any of that, we do need to get this thing out of the box so that we can see what comes with a $179 motherboard. So you don't usually get too much when it comes to motherboards. Obviously, first off, you have the board, which we'll get into in just a second. Underneath the board, we do have a couple extras. We get some SATA cables, which you most likely will not use. You get a plug for your power pins, you get a tiny screw, another tiny screw for your NVMe, and a standoff for your NVMe, so that's nice. You get your user guide, a couple little warranty things, and you get your antenna. So we do need to get our motherboard out of the anti-static bag that it comes with. Take a good look at it. Man, that's a good looking board. Now, somewhere in my last motherboard review, I did make a comment saying that I was gonna need to invest in like a motherboard stand because I don't have one, and then it's really dangerous to just have your board sitting like this. It could easily slide out and break, and nobody wants that. And luckily, one of my subscribers who does also have his own YouTube channel 3D printed me my very own motherboard stand, which I am going to test out for the very first time right now. Oops. Well, look at that. Isn't that nice? Also, real quick, don't judge this. Don't judge this at all. I'm doing some testing, all right? This is just stuff. Don't even think about it. Just subscribe so you can see what I do with it. That's what you really want to do. So shout out to BlindTech for sending over this motherboard stand. It's absolutely gonna come in handy. If you would like to check out his channel, I will drop a link to his channel in the description down below so you can take a look at it. He's a pretty nice guy. Now, right out of the box, just glancing at this thing, it is a very aesthetically pleasing board. And remember, I told you that this board was thrust upon me because I wanted to buy a 9070 XT, and the only way to get one at a decent price was to purchase the bundle deal that came with this board. But I'm not mad at it because this board's color scheme matches the 9070 XT that I picked up really well. So, these are gonna fit together really nicely. Now, for starters, this is an AMD board with an AM5 socket, meaning it can house 7000 and 9000 series CPUs. So if you are considering picking up one of those fancy 9800 X3D chips or a 9950 X3D chip, this board can house both of those CPUs. And speaking about the highly sought after X3D chips, this board has something called X3D Turbo mode, which is a feature designed to enhance gaming performance. This mode optimizes core distribution, bandwidth tuning, and power balancing, resulting in performance increases of up to 18% in gaming scenarios. You can activate this feature easily using the BIOS, or you can use the Aorus AI Snatch software that comes with the motherboard. The Aorus X3D Turbo Mode button is aimed at maximizing the capabilities of all the 9000 series Ryzen CPUs. And that feature isn't just for X3D chips. It's designed to help non-X3D chips get similar performance as their X3D partner. So that means that if an X3D chip is currently out of your budget, you can still get similar performance to those chips until you can afford to buy one. So let's go ahead and turn our attention to our beautiful board here. So starting off at the top left corner here, we do have a 4x8 pin CPU power design, which is pretty standard for B boards. This is also where we have our VRMs and heatsink. This board has something called digital twin VRM design, and to simplify things, this means that this board can deliver consistent high power performance so that you can easily overclock your CPU. And yes, you can overclock your CPU just fine with a B850 board. There seems to be some stigma out there that you can't overclock with a B board, or that in order to successfully overclock you need like an X870 board, which is absolutely untrue. Now, what is true is that the X670 and X870 boards, they are better suited for overclocking, but that doesn't mean that you can't overclock with a B850. In the center of our board, we do have our AM5 CPU socket, and to the right here, we do have 4 DDR5 DIMM slots, which can house a staggering 256 gigs of DDR5 memory, and this board can handle memory overclocks of up to 8,200 megatransfers per second. Also on the top right here, we do have this little button. Now, by default, this button right here does act as a reset, but it can be remapped in the BIOS to do whatever you want it to do. Now, honestly, the only real reason that I could see you using this button like ever is, you know, if you were using this board for like a test bench. But if you were trying to build a test bench, I would probably go with an X870 board just because those can take more of a beating than a B850 can. Lastly, over here in this corner, we do have our 24-pin motherboard power connector. It's the exact same 24-pin motherboard power connector that was in my Hewlett-Packard when I was 13, and right underneath that is your USB-C case header, which was definitely not around when I was 13. In the bottom right-hand corner, of course, we have our chipset heatsink, which does have a nice simple design. It's also where you find the 4 included SATA ports. Now, in previous motherboard reviews, I have heard some displeasure with the lack of SATA drives. You only have 4 SATA ports on this motherboard, but SATA drives are on their way out the door, joining ribbon cables and Molex adapters in like the PC Hall of Fame. Down here is also where you will find the USB 3 header for your case. It's also where they have planted the CMOS battery, power pins, and USB headers. Now, with ARGB being such a massive thing, you're definitely going to want to make sure that your board has enough ARGB headers, and you are in luck because this board does have 3, so you will not have any problem figuring out where to plug in all of your lighting. There still is 1 non-addressable RGB header on this thing and 6 total fan headers, all of which can be controlled through the BIOS or Gigabyte software. Now, focusing on the center of the board here, you will notice that the PCIe X16 lane is slightly higher than what you typically see with motherboards. Usually when you look at motherboards, you see an NVMe slot between the CPU and where you would mount your graphics card. This board does not have that. The first NVMe slot is actually underneath the graphics card. When you mount your GPU onto this board, depending on your case, you will remove the top PCIe cover on your case to fit your GPU inside there. This will raise the graphics card up some, putting it more in the center of your build, which might be beneficial for airflow, creating more separation between the graphics card and the bottom of your case. Honestly, it could improve thermals quite a bit. I know that I've put together quite a few PC builds where the graphics card is so close to the bottom of the PC case that I worry if it's getting enough air. Now, another thing that is very important to know if you were gonna purchase this board or any other board where they don't have the M.2 between the graphics card and the CPU is that because they shortened this whole area here, if you were planning on running a very large air cooler, you're gonna wanna make sure you're paying attention to the dimensions of that because you don't wanna run the risk of your CPU cooler coming in contact with your graphics card, which is a possibility if your air cooler is gonna be like a behemoth air cooler. Now, our top PCIe slot is Gen 5, so it is compatible with all of the brand new cards that everybody wants and nobody should be buying because they're all overinflated and show no signs of coming down in price ever. And this slot also includes a quick release button. Now, this moment is where I would typically make a joke about this button here, saying it's like a GPU quick reload option, you know, like anybody's out there just swapping in and out graphics cards on the fly, which is something that most people are probably not doing. But in the last motherboard video that I did put out, it also had a shortened gap between the CPU and the GPU, and somebody in the comments section pointed out that the button is probably because if you were running a large air cooler, it would be very difficult to wiggle your finger or like a screwdriver in there to push this button back to release your graphics card, and that's why this exists. And that is why I love doing these videos, because I love showing you these things, but you guys teach me far more. Now, the other 3 PCIe slots on our motherboard are PCIe 3.0, and for storage solutions, we have 3 M.2 slots, but only the Gen 5 M.2 has an included heatsink. The other 2 M.2 slots are Gen 4, and you would need to figure out your own cooling solution if you wanted to add cooling to those drives. Now, moving right along to our I/O, we do have a HDMI and DisplayPort connection for if you are running a CPU that does have integrated graphics. There's also a Q-Flash Plus button for entering the BIOS. We have 4 USB 2.0 ports, 1 keyboard and mouse port. Seeing this thing used in current motherboards is actually super amusing to me. No judgments at all, but are any of you guys using this? Sound off in the comments if this port right here is something that you still use, because I haven't used one of these since my mouse had a physical ball inside of it. But moving right along, we do have 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2s, 1 USB-C with 5 gig speeds, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1s, and we have our quick connect antenna. Now, something to know about this board is that the antenna that comes with this board is not the same as the antenna that has come with some of the other Gigabyte boards that I have taken a look at. This one has a quick connect antenna just like the others, but this one is fixed. It is stuck in the back of your case. It will just sit there. The other antennas, they were on a cable and you could move them and hide them wherever you want. This is just gonna be like most other motherboards where the antennas just stay on the back of the board. It's not really a negative or a positive, this is just an antenna, but it is something you should probably know. And lastly, down here we have our LAN port and 3 audio jacks. Now, here is something interesting that I found while doing a little bit of research on this board. You see all these little holes here in the rear I/O? Well, Gigabyte is saying that by adding these little holes, they were able to grab a 7 degrees Celsius temperature reduction in VRM temps because of it. I have not tested that myself, but it's interesting information to know, and I'm definitely going to be looking into that. Now, something that may come off as a drawback on this board is that this board does come with Wi-Fi 6E, unlike some of the other B850 boards who have moved on to bigger and better things called Wi-Fi 7. Now, for gaming, there is no way that you would be able to tell a difference. I gamed on 400 megabytes per second for years and never had a single issue. And Wi-Fi 6E is absolutely no slouch, delivering speeds of up to 2.5 gigs. And you get superior Bluetooth connection and range. Wi-Fi 6E is still a beast of an option. But if you need more than Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7 is a must, please check out some of my other motherboard reviews that have Wi-Fi 7. Now, I don't know why I do this. I'm pretty sure nobody cares, but I would hate to let anyone down, so I'm gonna show you the back of the board. There is literally nothing going on here, but I would hate for somebody watching this video to think to themselves, hey, I wonder what the back of this motherboard looks like, and then me not show you. So here it is, in all of its plain, boring glory. You won't see the back of the motherboard once it's in your case anyways, but hey, I'm here to make everyone happy. But that's it. Go out there, drop down, and get your eagle on. Oh, I'm gonna get canceled. It's just a matter of time. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It does wonders in helping my little channel move on to bigger and better YouTube glory. Also, right next to the subscribe button is the like button. It sure would be wonderful if you considered hitting that too. Also, off the top of my head here, I did want to say that no matter where you are in the world, I hope that you are having a fantastic day. And I'm gonna see you right here for the next video, which might be the video that features this motherboard.